part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today we are bringing to a close not all the Batman movies, but the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Yes, we are continuing what I am calling Batfall. You had a Brat Summer, it's time for Batfall. And we are finishing up with the Christopher Nolan side of Batman movies with the final film. Oh, where did he come up with this title? The Dark Knight Rises? A.K.A. the 2-hour and 40-minute split. This movie should also be called the 2-hour and 40-minute split. Let me explain this real quick for my listeners. I watched this movie in 2 sittings. The first sitting, I was having a terrible time. It was really dragging. I was not liking it. I turned it off and I went to bed. I came back to it the next day. The movie started at an hour and 19 minutes in. At an hour and 19 minutes in, that is when Bane blows up the Gotham football stadium. From there to the end, fantastic movie. Some of the best Batman stuff in live action is in the last hour and 20. This movie in total is 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes, but that doesn't help for my math. I'm just going to assume 5 minutes are credits. 2 hours and 40 minutes. The first hour 20, skip. The last hour 20, you got to watch. It is fascinating to me that they put the best stuff in the back half. The front half of this movie, I think, is bogged down by Harvey Dent shit that I don't give a shit about. We should have been done with that because of The Dark Knight. I think the way the people talk about Batman feels weird to me. I thought we were supposed to hate him at the end of The Dark Knight, but everyone seems pretty excited when he shows up on the highway. The only good thing about the first hour is Anne Hathaway, Catwoman is great. I'm going to say this. I've never seen a bad Catwoman except for Halle Berry. I've never seen a bad Catwoman. You can't go wrong with Catwoman. Anne Hathaway really delivers. I'll ask my straight male guest, how he felt about the cat suit. I think it was fine. But who knows? Maybe it meant more to others who are not me, who's still gay. Me. And Bane. We will talk about Bane, but I'll say this. I love my boy, Tom Hardy, my birthday twin. Me and Tom Hardy have the same birthday, and he's handsome. I'm handsome. You know, it's just a thing. Those are my initial thoughts, but I want to save room for my guests to get in here and tell me their thoughts. My first guest, a regular on Podcast 616. He likes the Wolverine in Japan. And then you did another one. Oh, shoot. I can see it now. You were on a second time, but this is his third time on the podcast. Forget what he came back for, but he's back a third time for a third Batman movie. He's 3 for 3 for 3. He's a known actor about Los Angeles, and he's wearing a LA Kings hat. Classic him. Please welcome to your ears, Logan Hulick.
Hey, hold your applause.
Don't you dare.
Spider-Man.
Yes. Andrew Garfield.
And now Batman.
Yeah.
I feel very honored.
The
That's
main three, I would say.
Hell of a threesome.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. Thanks for having me back. Lovely to be here. And it was very hard not to laugh during your intro. I didn't know, because I haven't been introduced yet. Do they know I'm here? You know? So I really held it in, the laughter. Very funny.
Well, thank you very much. I would say others have not had your restraint, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, we're trying to run a professional show here.
We are. And it is a professional show because we have a professional podcaster joining us right next to Logan Hulick. They are slanging podcasts left and right. You can currently listen to them on Teen Movie Time Machine, a podcast I would love to be on. And they have a future podcast with our first guest because they're together, both physically and relationally. I hope I can say this. They'll be doing a couples podcast dropping in early 2025. So joining Logan Hulick is the wonderful and great Katelyn Woolcott.
Woo! Yay! I'm so happy to be here. Long time in the making. Long time in the making.
How many times have we been like, you got to be on this podcast?
I know.
I'll see you on the pod.
We almost booked it. And then there was a scheduling thing. So it's been tantalizingly close. So to really be here right now feels full circle. Feels like we're ending something, you know? Kind of like we're ending Oh my God, it's so meta. We're
So
ending the
meta.
Batman series. We're ending the circle of me being on the podcast. This is beautiful.
It's,
Spiritual.
this is going to be a spiritual experience. Hundo P. Katelyn, I really want to start with you just because I guess I haven't talked to Logan about Batman, but we've never talked superheroes at all. So, like, where are you coming at this from? Like, was this your first time watching this? Or, like, what is your Batman? Tell me your Batman journey. How
Okay.
did you get here?
So my journey with all superhero movies is that I see them, most of them. I mean, it's gotten a little out of hand. So I will say I
Okay.
haven't kept up in the last couple years, maybe as diligently.
Mhm.
I like them. I let them wash over me. I enjoy it. I always leave with a smile on my face. And then in about, 10 to 12 hours, could barely tell you a plot.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, I saw it and I liked it. But with the exception of The Dark Knight, which I saw in theaters, and I thought
Mhm.
I thought that movie was amazing. I remember loving that movie.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger was
Yeah.
so upsetting to me. I
Mhm.
really felt that he was not well personally, which turns out, was
Yeah.
true. I just felt he was so scary and realized in that movie, I truly left affected.
Yeah.
That one stuck with me big time, but I have never seen Dark Knight Rises. So that was my first time last night.
It's an honor that this
Yeah.
was your first watch. Okay. Did you rewatch The Dark Knight to kind of get ready for this, or did you just like go into the
I wish I had.
Rises cold? Yeah.
I did make Logan, full disclosure, we did watch together. We tried not to give too many notes about it to each other so that we could come fresh on here.
Yeah.
But we did
Nice.
watch together, and we did have to pause it at one point, and he gave me a good synopsis of what had happened.
Well, she's like,
Good.
you alluded to in your intro, she's like, what is all this Harvey Dent stuff going on? And I'm like, great question. We could have done this in 5 minutes, but we were spending an hour on
Well,
Harvey.
and I'll say that they spent an hour on it, and I wasn't any clearer on what had really transpired in the movie before, so that wasn't even helpful.
No.
So basically, I showed her the clip of the Harvey Dent death scene and was like, he comes in, takes Commissioner Gordon's child hostage.
Mhm. His whole family, actually.
Yeah. Shoots Batman. Batman then comes up, tackles him. He falls to his death. Batman saves the child. So some people are like blaming the death on Batman, but Commissioner Gordon knows the real truth. And I was like, the clip was 4 minutes long. Added, probably
they probably could have just added
3 or 4 minutes.
You could have seen like a little clip.
3 or 4 minutes of explanation. In, out, about 8 minutes. We were completely caught up. Press play again on Dark Knight Rises, and still 40 more minutes of Harvey Dent stuff.
Jesus. Oh, I apologize. Like, I made the movie. I'm so sorry. Like,
you were so right though in your intro.
Mhm.
I wrote it down. I was like, you've never been more right that the movie starts at an hour 19.
It's crazy.
Believe we saw an hour and 20 minutes before the baseball stadium.
Yeah, football.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Katelyn. But yeah, it's nuts. Like, I don't see why this movie could not have just been Gotham cut off from the world, this like snowy apocalyptic thing. Like, that would have been so cool and so different from the other two movies.
Yeah, and it starts with him in an 8-year hiatus, so that would make total sense.
Mm-hmm.
For it to be that dark gothic place in the snow.
So like not even. Ooh, that's really interesting. Then, like, not even showing. Like, we just come back. Like, Batman's like, well, job well done. I'm out of here, and then come back and it's gone to shit.
Yeah.
And how many years was it between 5?
Like, in actual time for us in the real world?
No, in their world.
8.
8 for them, but then like what? 4? Oh my god, I'm terrible at math. I can't believe I'm revealing this. No, 4 years for us, because 2008 to 2012.
It was literally the 4 years I was in college.
And same. Are you class of 2012?
Well, they called her freshman year Dark Knight, and they called her senior year Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. We had a lot of evil going on.
She,
Yeah.
she got
In that
wild
theater
there.
department, there was a lot of Dark Knight Rising. Really scary.
Okay.
What in the hell is that? We have hold on.
That should be your next podcast, is revealing what happened there.
Oh.
Yeah, but I agree. I just have to say this because I kept saying it to Logan. He didn't really care, so I said it like 3 times and he still didn't really acknowledge me. And I was like, okay. I was like, basically, we just watched Titanic. Titanic is 3 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. Dark Knight Rises is 2 hours and 45 minutes. That is a long fucking film.
Well, the only reason I was trying to acknowledge it is because I was like, I can't let this seep into my consciousness right now. I have to act like it's a short movie. Because if I allow myself to give in to the fact that how long it is, I will really start to,
feel it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I enjoyed a lot in this film, though.
Well,
I will say that.
God, what a segue. You're doing his job for him. Right. What did you enjoy?
This is perfectly welcome. Please. Yes.
I'm kidding.
Well, yeah. Let's compliment Sandwich, The Dark Knight Rises. What were some things that the best thing for me was Catwoman, Miss Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hesitation.
I don't know. Okay, this is really. I love Anne Hathaway. Let me just say that.
Okay, it doesn't sound like it.
Hater. I know it's not sounding good, but no, I love her in certain things for sure. Sometimes I can really feel the acting with her.
Okay.
And I felt like she was really...
She does get away with that.
Not trying, but she was being Catwoman, and then it almost made it like a little funny to me sometimes.
Yes.
Kind of like, you're not this.
I know what you mean, because for me, there was the one scene that kind of takes me out is when like Morgan Freeman meets her and he's like, "I like your girlfriend, Mr. Wayne," and she goes, "He wishes."
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Though we both were like, "Damn, she's good." When she was doing the fake screaming, when she kind of setting up that guy, how would you describe that scene?
Yeah,
that hideous man, the ugliest man I've ever seen in my life.
Yes. 100%.
Which one? Because they both are unique looking.
He's like, well, I know he's British in real life. His name's Bern Gorham. I know that. But he just has like, you can see every bone in his face.
Yeah.
Yes. And so she's acting like she didn't just kill people in there and that she's a damsel in distress when the police show up. And she does a scream that is so chilling. Really good.
Yeah, she sells it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then she's just quickly, she's like, and she's quickly out of it. She's like, all right, out of here.
Well, I mean, she is a good actor. Sometimes I just wish I didn't see.
You don't want to see the work.
Do you guys like Christian Bale? Because I know has his problems or whatever, but I do think he's a really good actor.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah. I think me and producer Michael were talking before we hit record that we were saying this is his best Batman movie. The 3 he did, this one is his best one, I would say.
Definitely. He's fantastic in it.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And
he's amazing.
Yeah. The thing with Anne Hathaway for me that I can never get over when I watch her is she just, tell me if this makes sense. I'm just going to say it.
Speak,
and I don't know if it's good. I don't really mean anything good or bad by it, but I just feel like I'm watching an actor from the 90s. Especially like the body type specifically is very 90s. It's like this,
Oh, because she's so thin.
Skinny with the big boobs and stuff. And like,
wow.
He
was looking.
Well, it's
I mean, she wasn't a very skin tight cat suit. So there was.
I thought she looked phenomenal. I kept looking at her hair like, damn.
Yeah.
The hair.
Fly away, bitch.
It's interesting. Is she an actress from the 90s? I would say, I guess so. Because like I think for her, my favorite Anne Hathaway role is Ocean's 8, where she's she's opposite, Sandra Bullock, which is full of 90s actresses.
She's fun in that.
She crushes those types of things where she's like in the and I think she did good in this movie as well. I just think like she has that where Katelyn, you point out like how you're seeing the work a little bit, but it just like, yeah, a little. It's part that, but I think mainly it's just like she's in the tone of like the '90s. It feels like a lot with her work sometimes.
Maybe she did that on purpose, like to be a little more cartoonish. You know, like she's
Mhm.
almost feeling like she's out of
The
the
comics.
thank you. You
Yeah.
know, now that
I,
I'm thinking about like some of her line reads, I'm like, maybe she was doing that on purpose.
I was gonna say, like Christopher Nolan, director extraordinaire, but not known for writing very strong female parts. Like literally, Batman Begins, it was Katie Holmes, and then they recasted her as Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I feel like no one really noticed. It was the same character, but a completely different person.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And
Yeah.
I think Anne was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I think Anne looked at her paper thin script and was like, well, it seems like I could kind of do whatever I want,
Mhm.
because he's not gonna tell me any different. So I think Anne, this to me, I think there sometimes actors on roles are like, well, I'm just gonna, this is like my freebie, like this is my wild card movie, like I'm gonna do something, which I would say like Florence Pugh and Don't Worry Darling, it was like I'm gonna do whatever I want because
Yeah.
this is like not gonna hurt me. Does that make sense? Like,
That
Yeah,
makes total sense. And sometimes I think, like, especially with an Anne Hathaway in a role like this, you're like, sure, yeah, I'll
yeah.
go be Catwoman, make that money. That's not gonna
Hmm.
hurt or help. Who cares? We'll have fun.
Like everyone in this movie made so much money. Like this is the sequel to the biggest movie of all time, like for them.
we were talking about, speaking of that, like the cameos of people that are now celebrities. Like fucking Glenn Powell is in it,
Thank
and
you.
what's her name from Ted Lasso's in it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Juno
Juno.
Temple. Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like
And then I
they
didn't know that.
Glenn Powell has like one line.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good,
Yeah, he's perfect, but it's just like it's just bizarre to imagine.
and then is it Killian Murphy? I didn't know he was like
Yeah,
all.
Killian Murphy's actually in all three of these Batman movies. He was like the main villain in the first one, Batman Begins, and then he gets arrested in the second one, and then he's the kangaroo court lawyer or judge in this.
They were
Yeah, it's
like, we'll get
very
you back in. I don't know how, but
Mhm.
don't worry
yeah.
about it. We'll write you.
And then
Well,
they do Oppenheimer.
That's right. So
Yeah.
so
that's
much for him.
right. Nolan likes his guys. He loves Joseph Gordon-Levitt too.
Do you guys remember? This is a great transition to talk about Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This was like the Joseph Gordon-Levitt era. So like Inception, Don John, The Dark Knight Rises, Looper. He just was like
Like from
whoever.
2011 to
He was on a
2015,
hot streak.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I want his publicity team because they were like pushing him.
I had such a crush on him in that era. I think because of
Can you
500 Days.
can you explain that? Let's say you're someone who feels absolutely nothing for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Caitlin, can you sell him to me? Can you sell him?
I think there's a time thing happening like in that era. So you have to take yourself back
Skinny
to
ties.
skinny ties, to sensitive boys kind of coming through the muck and the mire,
Mhm.
for all of us girlies who, wanted someone who was a man, okay? So like he can play a cop.
Check.
You know what I mean? I don't want a cop, but you know what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
has that.
yeah, yeah.
Then he's like gonna sing you a song on a ukulele. There was something very sweet boy about him that I think made him feel approachable.
Approachable is a great word
Yeah.
for what do we call him? JGL?
Because he's hot. He's hot, but he's not like, chiseled
Not
chin,
not at
like
all.
super buff. So you're like, oh my god,
None.
we could have a good life together. I think, that's a body type you marry. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It does. It does. And I don't want to show my hand of where we're going with our fuck Mary kill at the end, but I have never felt less of an attraction to a man than a Joseph Gordon. It just I
And
think for me,
what doesn't do it for you? Like, what
the
is it about
fact
him? Does he give you the
It's
ick a little
probably
bit?
like how I don't have any attraction like at all to Zoe Deschanel.
Mm.
Like
ooh.
she's cute, and I know that like she's objectively attractive person, but
Mhm.
they're like the same to me. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and her were. I mean, she's probably not going to play like a badass like he can play in certain movies, maybe, but still. And then didn't they have that whole thing where they used to like play banjo together or something, or
They had their
ukulele?
little band.
Yeah.
I think that's it. The banjo for me. That's what I'm
Well,
out.
because it really turned sour. You know,
Yeah.
for a moment we all got wrapped up in that a little bit, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is enough. Like, put the
Well-
uke down.
Well,
We're done with this.
I think that if we really take ourselves back to that era, you know, like John Mayer was cleaning up. He was
Oh
wrecking.
wow.
He was wreaking havoc in Hollywood
That's
at that.
Didn't think we'd get here in our
So-
Batman conversation.
You know, when John Mayer's out there just pounding around town, you know,
Not pounding around.
and you know, he's got all the receipts, you know, in his wallet, and he's cashing in on receipts. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but the point is that if he's doing that, right, I think there's a sense of a lot of the actors, especially the sensitive ones, trying to like be a little bit like him or a type kind of like him.
I see. They're seeing the Mayer method works.
Yeah. Where it's kind of like you see now where the version of that is Pete Davidson now. And so you're seeing all these actors, they're trying to be like in funny stuff now. They're trying to be goofy guys.
Yeah. The funny, goofy dirtbag is like the new Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Right now.
Well, just to bring it back to Batman, if you wouldn't mind, real quick. I think Christopher Nolan's love for Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I just don't really understand what his character's purpose is. I really hate that he just deduces who Batman is because orphan recognize orphan. That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
It just kind of came out of nowhere. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, he knows.
Yeah. Well, this is a question I have for you, Damon.
Please.
So, how much, because I don't really know this depth of it, how much do you feel Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character in the movie is accurate to like what the comics would say Robin is?
0%.
So
0%. 0% accuracy.
See, when I watched it, I gave it the benefit of the doubt. When I've seen it a lot, but I'm saying I was kind of like, oh, this must be stuff that's like in the comics that I just don't know about, because otherwise there's no point in like giving some weird reveal at the end that he's Robin.
In the weirdest way, which is also because Robin's biological name is not Robin, it's Dick. His name, like the original Robin, is Dick Grayson, and he became Robin is his superhero name. And Dick Grayson was a trapeze artist. Like he was, his family were in the circus. They were high rope trapeze artists, and then they all tragically died, and he became an orphan. And then for some reason, he was adopted by the richest man in Gotham, Bruce Wayne, and he becomes a superhero.
By Bruce.
Which again feels like a gay porn to me.
It was a little bit that, yeah. And when was that? That was probably in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
50s, probably 50s.
Secret gay relationship. Anyway,
they're just really good friends.
Yeah, they're just, yeah. they just.
I kind of liked his character. Is that wrong?
It for me, yes, but not for the world.
I'm loving these hot takes from Katelyn coming in hot.
Well, I'm just
not liking
Anne
and
Love and Joe. Okay.
I know. I feel like your fan base is going to be like, who is this bitch? Who doesn't know shit about this?
Oh, they would never.
No. My 5 fan bases, they would never do that.
They're loyal and they're kind.
They're loyal. They're loyal, kind people, truly.
I just like that I felt like he was the bridge between, and I guess Gordon could have done this. I guess Gordon could have kind of played his own role.
Wait, no pun intended.
The bridge.
The
bridge.
Hey, I'm not good, baby. I don't even know what I'm doing. I just thought it was nice that there's someone who like knows that it's Batman and is also trying to figure out like, what's going on with the police and that side of when, everything gets taken over and they have their little secret, police society.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just liked having someone who was kind of working for the good of the people, you know?
Absolutely. I think what you just said, I think that's what really was bugging me about this movie. It's very pro cop. And I think
Very pro cop.
in a post 2020 world, it's very strange for me to like the big rally, like, come on, cops, let's charge, guns waving in the air. I'm just like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I
When
don't-
what's his name? I forget his name. Who is like a big police officer, and he comes at the end, and he has on his like blues,
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he's like,
and you're supposed to be like, oh, he sacrificed. You know,
Yeah.
mhm.
he's out here in his blue, and you're a little bit like, ugh.
Well,
Yeah, like, also, that's not the proper uniform to wear when go to a fight. That's like for ceremony with like
Right?
the tassels and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
okay. I have a positive and a negative on this point, on this
Please,
conversation topic.
please,
So
please.
I did really like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Commissioner Gordon's relationship. I thought that was nice. And
Agreed.
Caitlin's point, they were a nice little like kind of for a little bit they were kind of doing like the good cop bad cop thing like through this like support of Batman or
Yeah.
support of, but my question is on that relationship, was that the most anticlimactic, least exciting promotion of all time?
Right.
When he was like, "Oh, you're detective now, detective," or whatever he said. He said like one line, like, "Okay, you mean detective?" And then it was like, "Oh," and then we just moved on to the next scene. And I was like, "Wait," and I looked at Caitlin. And I was like, "Wait, is he detective? Is that what I thought? He's a detective now?" I was like,
Things are moving fast. We're in a war torn
I was,
state.
I was like, we took an hour and 20 minutes to explain Harvey Dent and where everyone's at, but we just did that in 27 seconds.
True. And Caitlin, I don't think we were in the war torn state when he got that promotion. Like he was
You're right.
promoted before things started blowing up.
You're right.
I I don't know. Can we get some paperwork? I think you have to got to sign something. You got to go to a review board.
He leaves as quick as he came, you
Yeah.
know? And then he just
True.
throws his little badge in the river and he's done with that life. And we
No,
don't know why, because he's done good work and he's been promoted and he's under Commissioner Gordon. And then he's like, can't be under the system. I can't do it. It's like, well, it seems like you were doing it pretty good, though.
the only explanation we have that I can think of is that he was mad that the other cops didn't just trust him to bring a school bus of children across the bridge. And so he's like, I'm done with the law. No one even just accepts me at face value anymore. So he's like, I guess I assume he's going to be Batman. Like that's how this movie ended. So I just assume he's in the Batcave. He's going to do some mask vigilanteism from now on.
So, speaking of endings,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Please, please.
How did you
I love not having to be in charge of the transition. So please, where are we going next, Logan? What's happening?
I love getting your thoughts, you know? So am I, I don't want to feel stupid, but I have to ask, the ending, is it supposed to be literal with him seeing him and, okay, with Alfred seeing,
Thank you. Do some. This is called service journalism, Logan. Just
with Alfred seeing Bruce Wayne and
thank
Miss
you.
Kyle at a bistro in, what did I say?
France.
God, where was it? That's a fun
Italy,
fact.
Spain.
Is it
It was a very specific
It
thing.
was
Yes.
very
It was like
specific. Where was
Montecito.
it?
No, but it was.
It was. Oh my god!
I don't know. He
I
said,
feel like
Well,
it was someplace in Italy.
We'll look this up. So I'm looking up right now. But your question, Logan, was it real?
that girl.
Yes.
Okay, I thought
So he like gives it up. He's
Yeah.
happy. Him and
Yes.
Catwoman,
him and Catwoman
Give
end up
up.
together.
and they now are like just a family.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening for them.
I don't like how they put the scenes together, but like there's so many clips and scenes like you're Robin, here's the Batcave, and then Morgan Freeman is like looking at the bat plane and seeing that the autopilot has been fixed
Right.
by Bruce Wayne, which
Right.
means he ejected from the bat plane and took the bomb out to sea because
Yeah.
Gotham's always been by the sea. We've always known that. That's not something they just added for this movie.
Oh,
The beach. Remember all the times Batman went to the beach? Anyway,
The black is so hot on sunny days.
Which he
so
said,
sweaty.
I would say in one movie or one part in the movie, I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character says, "I can't get off this island" or something.
Yeah, it's suddenly an island.
Wasn't Manhattan-y?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Manhattan-y, which is an island, but it's clearly not shot in Manhattan.
I mean, this one was filmed in Pittsburgh, weirdly, and The Dark Knight was filmed in Chicago. So
I
it's
do
like,
remember
mm-hmm.
that. One time, fun story, really quick. I was
Please.
walking to a class. This is, 2008, I think. And I'm just walking, not paying attention at all. And I look over and I was like, oh my God. And the whole road was like, looked like a bomb had gone off and the road was up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, vertical was the road that you would walk on. And then I realized I had walked onto a set.
The Dark Knight set.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh, I love it.
And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my
How
God.
have I not heard?
Oh my God, a bomb went off on Michigan
Something
Avenue.
really bad happened over here. And
How have I?
about it.
I need to listen to the news now. What happened?
It was like, I gotta get cable.
You got to get cable. Cable is important, but what's also important is taking a break on your podcast. So we're gonna take a quick break, listen to a few ads from our other shows available at the podcast, the Press Play Podcast Network, and when we come back, I promise we'll talk about Batman. I don't think we've talked about actual Batman. I want to talk about that cave, and I want to talk about Bane, and I want to talk about my girl Talia al Ghul. What went wrong? So keep it right here at Podcast 616. We'll be right back.
Part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Chase Smith here from the Chase Smith Podcast and Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
And I'm JD, host of the Hyman Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, and we are super excited to bring you a brand new show starting next Tuesday, the Fanfare Podcast.
The Fanfare Podcast is all about your favorite movies and our favorite movies and the best moments in cinema. To help guide our discussion, each episode will feature one classic, and we will grade this movie using a report card-like scale A through F. We're going to be grading categories like acting, directing, cinematography, the score, and even the movie poster itself.
And when we're not featuring a movie report card, we'll be sharing our movie rankings, franchise deep dives, actor and director interviews, and everything in between. Movies have been a major part of our lives, and we cannot wait to share our thoughts with you.
Our premiere episode will drop Tuesday, June 27th, and JD and I will be reviewing Raiders of the Lost Ark in preparation of the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on June 30th, the 5th installment of the franchise.
Join us on the Fanfare Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back.
Logan Hulick, we did some research, and we have an eyewitness by the name of Katelyn Woolcott, who says that you are infamous for doing a Bain voice.
Oh boy. I like it too much.
Well, we'll get to too much later, but right now, why do you like it? Let's start at the core.
Do I actually like it?
Great question.
So I like doing the impression.
Yes.
But do you
But
like
the voice itself is insane to me.
It's a choice.
And the way the way he says sentences is wild. He's like, the plane, it landed. What? But the Batman doesn't know. Does he not?
But he doesn't know.
But he doesn't know.
The people. I love when he is talking. Everyone's like, we do it for the people.
The people. It's like he's always asking a question. And Gotham would do it for the people.
I just would love the behind the scenes to hear how he landed on that, because he was throwing a lot at the wall,
Oh yeah.
She's like, is Bain a little bit more like blah blah blah, and he's like, no, that's not quite it, and or is he a little bit more lower? And then he tries that out, and then he's like, oh, I know, it's the people, and people, that's it.
Yeah,
you nailed it. Good job.
You nailed it.
And
I just want to set the table for everybody that this is a Nolan original thing. Like, I've never seen a Bane like this before, nor have I afterwards. Or if I have afterwards, it's been in reference to this. Like, Bane is just, I want to say he's originally from Mexico because he wears a luchador Mexican wrestler mask and not this like Hannibal Lecter breathe apparatus thing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is the breathing story just all made up by Nolan?
Yes, Logan.
Wow.
So much of this movie is just made up for this movie.
So
really, that's so wild.
It is wild.
Man, they will let him do anything when you make good money on the first one. Am I right?
Yeah.
You're right. Yes.
You keep forgetting that there was Begins.
Oh, yeah.
Begins is where Batman learns all of his... Yeah. And that's how Ra's al Ghul came back in.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yes. So this is a completely made up Bane backstory.
Begins, then Dark Knight, then Dark Knight Rises.
I know he didn't become the Dark Knight though until the Dark Knight, supposedly.
To be Katelyn, and to listen to Logan telling you Batman lore.
It's a tough task.
Well, Logan, I feel like I interrupted you when I was talking about that this is an original Bane story. What were you going to say? I feel like you were going to say something.
So, well, it's about the voice and the because
was the mask real? You asked, or was that made up?
Well, first off, does he speak? Do you think, like literally? Because we know that Christian Bane, the actor, puts an effect on his voice when he's Batman, so that
you called him Christian Bane.
Did I just do that? Christian Bane. God,
we should talk about how I got confused. Really embarrassing last night.
I had a boy. His name is Christian Bane, and he climbed up a top.
Oh God.
Okay, I know.
Cut it.
You have to. Oh, Michael! God, I'm getting excited. You have to.
Michael, we're just going to use half of these.
Yeah.
Let's just cut half of the Bane.
You can choose your Bane.
It kind of does it. It's like he becomes the rooster. That's like, he's like.
It's very taken from a rooster.
He's like the rooster in the morning. After a while, he like gets excited. Bane.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Anywho, Bane. Did we let? Tom Hardy is unrecognizable. I thought
the size of his head is unrecognizable.
It's insane.
There's like that one shot because I do like the bait and switch they do where you think Bane is the one who escapes from the pit prison, but was actually the child, which I think we should have known more about Talia earlier. I feel like we only knew she was the villain for like 10 minutes. Anyway.
I know, and that got me.
Mm-hmm. But like
my little French little crumpet.
Miss Edith Piaf.
Good.
La Vie en Rose.
La Vie en Rose.
Is crumpet French?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just always thought, I always wondered why.
My little croissant.
I always wondered why it wasn't crumpet.
Shut the fuck up.
You've always wondered that?
Yeah.
But I love Marion Cotillard.
Cotillard, another Nolan staple. She was in Inception.
She's the best. I told Logan that I would leave. I would leave him for her, 100%. I find her very attractive.
Who? Me?
Marion.
Oh, she talking about me?
Not you. But sorry, I brought her up just to say, like, we see that flashback to the child climbing the wall, and we see Bane with his scarf off, and I saw Tom Hardy's beautiful face once. It's a crime. It's a crime to cover up his perfect mouth. But that's how I feel.
No, it really was. I had to look him up again just to remember the beauty in which I know he possesses.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not the same guy. And then I looked and I was like, no, that's my guy.
But I think that also means that he's a fantastic actor, because I think any gorgeous actor who's willing to go ugly must be really good at the craft.
Yeah, then you know they're
No, they're good.
good. Not let your ego get in the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bane, though, I will say one thing they did really well were the fight scenes.
Yeah.
The fight scenes between him and Batman specifically, but just in general, Bane, like, wow.
Bane was whooping his ass.
I really hope deep down that Tom Hardy learned most of that, because
The real fights.
I hope it was they're like, all right, let's find a stunt double who has a huge head and
Well, the stunt double wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think the stunt double has to learn any lines.
I don't know. Stunt doubles do a lot these days. He carries his luggage.
I agree. I agree with your point that the fights look good, and thank you for bringing that up, because I want to close a loop I've started with the Nolan movies, because if you go back to Batman Begins, the fights were not that great. The choreography was very messy, and it was like hard to follow. It was like just such like shaky camera. It just did not look good. And I think by the time we get here, Nolan knew how to make those like heavy fights work. Yeah.
That does happen where you're like, who's fighting who?
Mm-hmm.
Happens a lot for me in like superhero movies.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, wait, who is that? Who's in that pile up?
But this
very clear.
Like
this one, my God.
Like, yeah, they're pretty cool how they isolate them. You get the people like in the prison, right? You get them watching, and you get like the sense of that. It takes you there as an audience member to be invested enough to like Katelyn said it a couple times, for real. Like, honestly, while she was watching out loud, she's like, "This is hard to watch," and I was like, because in like a good way, because it's like you're watching him literally beat the shit out of Batman, but like you know
Dude.
Batman moves and the talent and the ability, but just to see him wear him down and just crush him.
Yeah, Batman got really rocked.
The mask got cracked, as well as his back gets broken. He just takes him over the knee.
Oh, that part.
That was like,
yeah, that was intense. And then when those two prisoners are helping fix his back, and they tie him up on that rope,
and they say, "When you stand, you're good." Jesus.
And he's like, his acting in that, I was like, oh, I'm in pain.
Yeah. So, okay, this is lovely. This is exactly, thank you for leading us here. So I had a note. So I just recorded the Dark Knight podcast, and my guest, Tim Lamphere, told me I had to mention this on The Dark Knight Rises. So thank you. This is exactly what he wanted us to talk about. This movie, there's like a theme of the body that I think is really interesting. Because there's that earlier scene where he goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you have no cartilage in your knee at all.
Yeah.
Like, your body's gone.
Wait. Is that a theme in the Dark Knight though, you feel? Or are you saying it's a new theme that
it's a new, because Tim couldn't be here for this one. He was like, oh, you got to talk about how his body is like,
oh yes.
Yeah.
And like the wear and tear that this mission has put on him. And like, he gets his back broken, and then he has to repair it. And like, I gotta say, I get choked up. I was getting choked up watching it. The scene that really moved me is when he escapes from the prison, because there's this trial, like there's this rope, and it's like you got to climb, and like everybody falls, and he realizes like the only way to get out, is to remove the fear, and so the rope is the fear, because you're like tethered to something, and like the only way he can get out there is if he just doesn't do it without a harness. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm a cuck. I'm an incel. I love that. This is the most boy about me. I love Batman, and I love that like perseverance. This is why I love Survivor. Just like pushing yourself and pushing your limits. I mean, for me, it's like, can I read 5 scripts in an afternoon, as I'll do after this podcast? I'm not climbing, but it's the same for me. Like pushing to see like how far you can go.
There is something about too, like, you will fall because you have a net, and that's very, I don't know, we can all relate to that. Like with jobs, like, well, I can't quit this yet until I have something in place. It's like, well, you're never going to quit because this is holding you back, because this is a safety net. So until you kind of cut the rope, so to speak,
there's a truth
you won't
to that.
make space for the thing to come in.
Yeah.
Or for you to make the leap.
Right.
And to have the faith for it.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I thought that scene was very cool. I liked all the prison stuff going on. I liked those two men a lot.
Like the one who speaks and the one who doesn't.
You know, I liked everything that was going on in that realm.
It was so well done in the prison.
It was.
Everything Nolan did in the prison was near flawless.
Yeah.
Like the chanting.
The chanting, so yeah, that's really like powerful. And then when he's getting ready and he's like, why are you can't let fear hold you back. And he's like, I'm not afraid. I'm angry. I was like, oh shit. I was like, we're gonna get out of this fucking prison.
And like, I think the two prisoners who are helping him heal his back and then giving him the advice to make the jump, I think they help draw that emotion out too.
Yes.
They help build that story where you're like, they give you what you need to really feel for kind of the stakes,
the emotional depth is
Bruce
there
Wayne
from
and stuff here.
Yeah. So then you really do care.
Truly, it's great, and I think the prison stuff is where Christian Bale, I think, really shines as like a stellar actor. And those are always the better or the more interesting Batman stories. I remember like this kind of thing happened in the animated series where he would like end up on the Ra's al Ghul side of things, trapped over there. Thank you, Christopher Nolan. I know we're not in America. I'm not sure where we are, but I think that's for the best.
Yeah.
That's for the best.
We don't need this.
It's giving not North America. So do we talk to me
real quick?
Okay. Yeah, the host, please. Logan, our host, please tell us what's happening.
Yeah, the host is, So just quick side note, it was really weird for me and surreal that the night before, all right, I'll give you one guess. So you said not North America. It reminded me of the moment he climbs out of the jail. I'll give you one guess. What movie do you think we watched the night before?
He's not gonna know.
I would say, I'm just gonna say Indiana Jones because that's what I was thinking.
Not far off.
Sorry, I know I'm screaming.
Is it one of them or?
We watched The Mummy.
The Mummy. Oh, okay. Yes.
Talk about a 90s iconic movie, and could have been in that.
Truly. If they wanted to add another 2 hours to the movie, he gets out of the hole. He solves the mummy, fights the mummy, and then he goes back to Gotham.
Then goes back into prison. Is like, all right, so what do I do now?
Right. I want to give space because the movie didn't do this, but I want to give space for Talia al Ghul.
Can we?
Yes. You know, it's rare for Nolan to write two women in a movie, so huge.
I felt represented.
And wonderful. And Katelyn, I want to go to you. Do you, because also this is your first time watching it, so like, can I help fill in any gaps about her, or was it completely clear who she was?
What was really fun is that it really surprised me that she caught me, that she ended up being bad.
Yeah,
I really thought she was here to like help the earth, you know. And I thought, wow, look at this powerful woman, really doing it, taking over.
I think she is taking over, and she is powerful, but just in a different way.
In an evil way.
Yeah, that would be evil.
But yes, I mean, obviously, I didn't know that Batman was also a part of this little
League of Shadows.
People who are trying to bring justice to the world or something. I don't know. Tell me more about that.
Okay, so the League of Shadows, their whole thing is that they have this like Machiavellian view of the world. So if they see a city that's like really in the shitter, I'll say it, Detroit, they will go in and just break it down from the inside. Like they'll infiltrate the society and they're like, we're going to just destroy this city from the inside and just do away with it. Like, you know, they find like if a city's like too corrupt or there's too much crime or whatever, they're like, we just have to wipe it away off the map.
Where's it go?
That's a great question. I mean, Batman's never let it get that far, but it is kind of like, what would they do? In the first Batman movie, the first Christopher Nolan Batman movie, they were just going to blow up. Well, no, they were going to release a toxin into the air and drive everyone crazy, which I don't know what that would have done.
That's better than corruption, is a bunch of lunatics running around the streets.
And see, That's what Batman thinks, and that's why he puts on the cape.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well,
I love bats, by the way.
Oh, we should have led with that.
Isn't that weird?
No,
Hate-
not at all.
Hate rats. Hate creepy crawlers. Like a bat.
Like a bat.
I do. I really do. I like them.
that's why I'm wearing my Batman shirt.
Oh my God, you are with your little Batman and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What a pair.
Anyway, sorry, that was just a side note.
Yeah, they're kind of like. Did you ever know about those? God, I wish there was a fact check or something here so I could be.
You got Michael.
There was the guy. Remember the people in New York that like monitored the subways in the 70s or 80s? Do you ever remember that?
No, I wasn't alive.
Red, and they would like help clean up the city.
They would
were
vigilante.
Like, yeah, they were like civilian.
Oh wow,
it was crazy, by the way, in the 70s and 80s. If you like, the Joker. I know we're going wild. We're going all over the place on movies here, but
Please.
that movie takes place in New York in the 70s, and like it's kind of like that,
Oh,
Anyway,
the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Joaquin Phoenix one, right?
Yeah.
So, point being is, the League of Shadows is like that, but trained, but actually taught how to
Got
fight.
it. And
Taught how to
Talia,
make-
obviously, she was born in the prison,
Yeah.
and she had one protector, which was the Tom Hardy Bain
Mm-hmm.
character.
Yeah.
How'd she get him out? I'd love more deets on that, but whatever.
Same. And did we know how he got his disease? Did he get that? He got that in the prison. Like,
I think it was after he got beat so soundly.
mm-hmm. Oh, right. Because he was trying to protect a little girl.
Yeah. Why did all the prisoners hate that he was helping this young child? Also, that her mom just like basically, and I'm so sorry to use this, but like just got raped by a bunch of men. Like,
yes. I think in a film that is so pro cop, it by nature has to be very anti-prisoner, and that it also promotes the idea that if you're in prison, you are just a degenerate. Yeah.
Essentially, this movie was made by Clint Eastwood.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't hate it.
I really did have a lot of questions about Harvey Dent and how much cleaning up the street, like how many of these people really needed to be in prison. You know what I mean?
I mean, and that's the thing. But I think that's a missed opportunity from this movie. I'm sorry, I'm just popping off every once in a while here. But like when when Bain is making his speech to the people about how Dent and Gordon and Batman all lie to them, I think it would have, if the movie had started there, I think that would have been really interesting to see people turn away from Batman and the police, like, we don't trust you anymore, get out of here. But they don't really deal with that. He makes this speech and then he lets all the prisoners out of the prison and then they rule the city. I mean, I did love the eating the rich moment where they're dragging people out of their penthouses.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was gnarly.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But I just think it's such a missed opportunity to explore what the movie pretends that it's like, yeah, we're really going to go over this lie that they told, but there's really no consequence for the lie getting exposed.
It's all right. Yeah, that was a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just from a plot standpoint, that's the main problem with the movie, is that the things that they took a lot of time on could have maybe been tightened up, and instead they tightened up some of the things that maybe could have gotten a little more time,
Yeah.
That got rushed, it felt like.
Agreed. Which, I mean, I forget if we've already said this already, but like that like dystopian Gotham, that's my shit. Like, I love the banishment on the ice.
Right.
Oh
my God.
And we're all Midwesterners, I felt that. I was like, we could do this.
Here. I'm like, I'm not walking out of that fucking ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Go
he
on Lake
saying
Michigan.
before they go out? It's like stay on the thick parts. Like if you have to swim, you're dead or something. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah. And the guy's like, has anyone ever made it across? And they just don't answer because I bet they don't. But they don't make it.
They don't.
And the shots overhead. Now at this point, Bain has now taken over the city. The cops are underground, and he has taken over the what she would call it, military equipment that Batman has in his lair.
The Applied Science Division of Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah, yes. And the overhead shots looking down on the tanks rolling through the street with the snow on the ground are like perfect. And it's like, imagine if the movie started there.
Imagine that. I mean,
an internal cut.
Yeah, but like, oh, Logan, thank you for bringing that up, Logan. The shot of the not Batmobile, the evil Batmobile, if you want to think of it that way, just driving this. That's like, ooh, I was like, Oppenheimer, baby. And again, watching these movies, maybe I'll watch Oppenheimer again. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I
liked it. Sorry.
I loved Oppenheimer.
I did too. I've seen it twice already.
Wow.
It's so
3 people in this podcast liked Oppenheimer. I've never heard it. We'll never hear it again.
Hey,
we're connected.
It is so
Oppenheimer.
Bonded for life.
Like, there is one thing about, which is why, and this is relevant to Dark Knight Rises, is I really, really love, this is me personally, I really love a movie when I feel it's accurate, when I feel that it's...
Are we going to start talking about Oppenheimer?
It's writing. No.
Okay.
This is what she does to me,
I cut him off at the
Can
knees.
we talk about our relationship? No.
No, we don't. We do not have time. I'm so sorry.
But anyway, so I feel like if they would have stayed true to the comics a little more instead of gone on an old spiral, I think maybe Dark Knight Rises would have been a little bit better for it. And I think it's like, that's what I loved about Oppenheimer, is like it felt very factual and very true, in a lot of ways. Like, when you look stuff up after I watched it, it was like, oh my God, like, it's really cool how accurate a lot of it is.
Nolan just wanted to have a little fun.
I know.
He was feeling a little good.
It was his Anne Hathaway's moment.
I think, and yeah, thank you for adopting that. And yeah, I think the same is true for Nolan. He's like, I already made the greatest superhero movie of all time. Literally, and I'm so stupid we didn't talk about this on the Dark Knight podcast, but like, that was 2008 when Iron Man started, and that started the whole MCU journey the same year. And I really think it was the combination of those two things which gave the MCU like, oh, this is how you make superheroes relevant in this era, this modern era. Just make it real.
That was the start of now a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what's crazy, this year, 2012, when this movie came out, this was the first Avengers movie. And in that final scene where the Bat plane is like evading these missiles, and I'm like, this literally looks like the shot of Iron Man racing the aliens in New York. I was like, man, they've really been parallel. Yeah, this, like, there are so many beautiful shots. Like the airplane scene in the beginning, even though I told this producer Michael, I think it's ultimately to no consequence, because they basically stole a scientist to bring him to this football game to say no one can deactivate this bomb, and then they kill him. I'm like, that's why we did this elaborate plane heist where a plane flies on top of another plane, rips off the wings, just for that. But it looked so good.
It did look good.
It looked great.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes. I think, yeah, you can.
About the mummy. No, I'm kidding. So do you... Dad joke. So what do you feel, and this is kind of sad because you can wrap it up so well, and even Batman Begins with, Bruce's mission. Ultimately, what do you think Bain's, like, what would be his mission statement? Or the Joker was all about creating chaos in a world that's unfair, to allow people to kind of, he was all about chaos.
That's such an interesting point to bring up, and I don't think the movie does a good job, because, like, ultimately, Bain is just a henchman for Talia, because it's Talia's mission that he's enacting, and she's the main villain, and
she's the villain.
And ultimately, Bain is just kind of casually killed by Catwoman. I feel like I forgot about that she has the Bat Pod. She shoots him, and I'm like, oh, she kills Bain. I had completely forgotten that.
Well, the information we get in that scene, before you finish, because I want to hear what I want to hear your tie into Bain and Talia there. But
please, okay.
On that scene, we get this insane reveal that is groundbreaking, that was actually the child, and the whole thing. And then they just like slowly sneak in the fact that Batman, Talia, and Bane are in a throuple.
Yeah. FYI, just BTW.
Dealt with, and then Catwoman comes in and just blows Bane away. I was like, holy fuck, that right there is enough information for a 2-hour movie. And
Seriously.
gave it all to us in like 10 seconds.
To get back to the original question of like the mission, and basically her mission is the same as Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul in the first Batman movie. Sorry, pronounce his name correctly. Liam Neeson's is, to say his name correctly. Any Key and Peele fans? It's a Key and Peele reference.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't want that.
It's very funny if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
They
but
mess with names of any comedian ever.
Oh yeah. But Talia, she just wants to destroy Gotham because, this is what she kept saying. It's my father's work. And I think that's ultimately my issue with this movie and Christopher Nolan's trilogy in a sense, because Batman Begins is great. The Dark Knight is amazing and it's completely different than Batman Begins. But then we try to go to The Dark Knight Rises and he's trying to make this tie back to Batman Begins. And I'm like, honey, we've moved on. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, give us something new. Give us like, the martial law Gotham. Like that should have been the whole movie, because like you've established this pattern that you're always going to do something different with Batman every single time by having this Joker Dark Knight opus. And so you're just gonna, and then you come back for the third one and like, oh yeah, you need to remember everything from 2005. I'm like, but we moved on.
Right. I know. It did. Yeah. It did feel like a little bit of a desperate plea for him to kind of like make it all come full circle.
Yeah.
But we're going to give you this little Robin Easter egg to make it feel like there could be a fourth, or like a
the story continues.
Yeah, or like
a spin-off, reboot or something. Yeah.
Like,
can you imagine a Christopher Nolan movie solely based on Joseph Gordon-Levitt being Robin? The most unserious.
Truly, I would say my nightmare. Maybe not for you, but
what would Nolan do with a Robin forward movie?
I mean, a lot of skinny ties, but I want to say Logan said that Christopher Nolan tried to bring everything full circle, and maybe he didn't do it quite right. But here at Podcast 616, we always like to bring things full circle with our favorite game, Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. No, Logan's not the only one who can do transitions on this podcast. We're at the final segment of our show, Fuck, Marry, Kill, where we pick 3 characters when we will fuck, marry, and kill. And on the docket today, we've got Catwoman, Bane, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Otherwise, what was his actual character name? I mean, Robin, but John?
Blake.
Thank you, producer Michael. Yeah. Blake, or again, Key and Peele, Balake. I'll go first to give my guests time to think. I wonder, based upon things that I've said, I wonder who I will kill. Randomly, I'm going to kill Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm absolutely going to kill Blake. I think he's... Wait, what'd you say?
I'm just saying that's really harsh when Bane is in the mix. It's like, wow, that's a statement. You really don't like this man.
Yes. And that's what I do, Katelyn. I make statements on my podcast.
POV.
This is my POV. I'm going to kill Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm going to choke him with his skinny ass tie, his detective tie. I can't get over these ties. I'm going to, I'll say it. I will fuck Bane. I will fuck Bane. I think the voice is hilarious. I'll laugh the entire time.
That's for sure. You're not kissing the face. So
not kissing. Yeah. Much like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. No kissing.
Just literally going to say that. Yeah. Of course.
Because I know he sounds goofy, but can we say body yaddy yaddy? Or body yaddy yaddy for Bane? I want to climb him. I want to grapple with him. And I hope he breaks my back. I said it. I will marry Catwoman. I will marry Catwoman. We'll go to Florence. That's where they were. They were in Florence at the end. We'll
Lauren.
get the oh my gosh, the what a clever name. The clean slate file.
Yeah.
How long did you take writing that?
Great.
Yeah.
She really wants it.
And we'll wear Bruce's mother's pearls. We'll trade. We'll both wear them.
She wants the clean slate. Was that a euphemism?
For what?
Shaving her bush? No.
Oh.
And Michael, we're gonna leave that in. We're gonna leave that in. And let's go to that was Logan Hulick, listeners, our most senior guest on the podcast, who we'll be going to next for his Fuck Mary Kill picks. So Logan, please take us away.
Oh boy. This is gonna be tough on you. Okay. So I'm sorry in advance. I'm going to I'm gonna kill Bane. Because
Betrayal.
I know. Oh, I can't believe it happened. So the thing of like, if I fuck Bane, I'm gonna be the bottom, and I don't know how I don't think I can deal with that. Just getting pounded by Bane. And then
I mean,
if I marry him, there's just not going to be a deep enough connection there to live with him every day. Can you imagine like making coffee with Bane?
I can't.
In the prison.
Well,
He'd take care of you.
So
Yeah.
I could go kill, because also it would be kind of cool to kill a man of that stature.
Cool.
Only
Okay.
a woman with a motorcycle can do that. So
True.
I'd like to be in that world.
I would fuck. This is tough, but I have. But I would fuck Catwoman.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
Is because I just can't trust her. She's a liar.
Yeah.
And I just don't know.
I mean, she did trick Batman into getting his back broken by Bane, so that's true. She did lead him into that trap. So.
Yeah.
And she kind of admits in the scene that they have together where he comes back and she says, I thought you were dead,
Mhm.
She kind of admits, even though she redeems herself later and comes back for him, she does say to his face, like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Somebody
True.
tells you who they are, believe them.
And I'm like, all right. We could,
Maya.
We probably can't, have a joint bank account and pay bills together. Which then brings me to The Rock. I can be the star. Joseph Gordon-Levitt will be The Rock.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the wrestler, The Rock. I was like, this is not The Rock. I wish it was. If that was played by The Rock, oh my god. Mwah.
Deal.
That would be a good movie. So, my Rock, my marriage material, my housewife is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Robin.
My housewife. All right. Logan, fair enough. I'm not the police, so you can say whatever you want in this segment. Katelyn Woolcott, please.
In this segment right now, as we were speaking, I changed my answer. And I can do that. Women can change their mind anytime they want, actually.
Yes.
So what I was going to do was actually what Logan did. I was going to marry Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was going to fuck Anne Hathaway. I was going to kill Bane. But as I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Bane is not the evil one. He's doing the work, right? He's loyal. He's protective. This man could martial arts his way through anything. You know what I mean? So I think I'm marrying him. I think I would feel really safe. Sometimes your political views don't have to match your partner's. I couldn't personally do that right now in this climate, but I think maybe we can make that work is what I'm saying. I don't think that's like a deal breaker for us to get married.
Are you going to hit it?
I would, when we're married, so
Yes.
maybe not, But who I am gonna hit. Oh my god, this is tough. Because Catwoman has the moves in the cat suit, and I really like that. But I think I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to hit Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh!
Yeah, and then I think I'm gonna have to kill Catwoman.
Oh!
Oh my god!
You know, I love that you stayed true to yourself because you have carried that out the whole podcast.
Yeah,
good for you.
But it's hard to go against a woman. I feel
Yes, and yet you found a way.
I did it, so I guess it wasn't that hard.
They say women hate women.
They do say that. Hey, I like when we all have different answers. I think it, I have this tiny pet peeve. Is what?
It creates dialogue.
That's dialogue.
We're just trying to create dialogue with people.
Because, my least favorite thing is when you go out to dinner with friends and everybody gets the same dish. I'm like, how boring. Like, we all got chicken fingers, please.
Hey, man, can we all put our hands in on that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just...
Yeah.
Please.
1, 2, 3 different orders.
We are
different orders.
We'll go to dinner and get 2 items just to try one.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
We would never order the same thing. What are we, heathens?
That's insane.
We live in a
Absolutely.
world with the ability to,
It's all about variety.
Yeah.
And trying something new.
Absolutely. And variety and trying something new are 2 words I would definitely apply to The Dark Knight Rises.
Boom.
Thank you both so much. You guys are just feeding me with opportunities for transition, so I appreciate that. Thank you both so much for being here. Let's hit them with some plugs of like where we can find you online, and if you have something coming up, any shows or anything. Logan, anything coming up for you? Where can we find you?
Oh my god. Logan Hulick is me on Instagram. I'm doing a show called Stave and Dave at first Sundays at 8 p.m. And we are going to do another tennis court show, by the way, Damon. So we'll talk about that later.
Okay. I'd love to stay booked. Where's the Stave and Dave show? What theater?
It's at the Broadwater, which is the old Pack, and it's on the second stage there, Sundays at 8. And
nice.
A little fun tidbit. If you feel like it, check out season 3, episode 5 of Bel Air.
Your boy.
Okay. Just
very Glenn Powell in this movie, may I say. It's very that energy.
Ooh.
Broy. Yeah.
Okay, so barely you didn't have to work that day.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I didn't know about Bel Air. Okay, let's go. Thank you, Logan. Katelyn Woolcott, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Katelyn_Woolcott, and that's 2 O's, 2 T's. If you're getting confused, Katelyn with a K. Actually, my Katelyn name is more confusing, but you know what? If you want to, you'll find it. I have a show coming up with my co-host, Jake Farrington. Damon's been on the old iteration of the podcast, and we're going to have him on the new one, Teen Movie Time Machine, where we go through late 90s, early 2000s movies that all, were epic for us as teenagers, which is so fun. So we're kind of finishing up doing DCOMs, Disney Channel Original Movies, and then we're going to move into different movies, which we're so excited about. But we have, on the 5th of October, a live show, and that will be at the Pack Theater. So we're going to do kind of a live podcast taping, and I think this guy, Logan, is going to be our guest on it, so it's going to be so fun. It's going to be at 10 p.m., and we'll have a link for that soon, hopefully, and you can find it on my Instagram. And then, listen to our podcast. It comes out every 2 weeks, and then, later, Logan and I will have a podcast with a couple friends coming on to help us as a couple.
In the
really
works.
Great.
We recorded some. It's fun.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay, so I need to get myself a man by 2025, so I'm going to be on that podcast. Okay, great. Beautiful. You can follow this podcast on Instagram and TikTok at podcast616p3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, or podcasting network that lets me talk about Batman all during Batfall. You can also follow me, Damon, on Instagram and TikTok at Black Chandler. That's Black BLK, and Chandler as in Chandler Bing. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give the podcast that we just did? How did we do?
I'm going to give you guys a solid A.
Whoa.
Really? Do you do that to everyone?
Oh, yeah. Everyone that I agree with.
Even with my hot Catwoman takes, I'm so pleased. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Michael don't play with those grades.
I love getting a star. Now I feel really complete.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you, producer Michael. Thank you, Logan and Katelyn. Thank you, Christopher Nolan. We're done. We're done. Lord help me. We're done with the last good Batman. Well, next week, I'm sorry to inform everyone, we will be discussing Batman versus Superman. I just want to do one Ben Affleck one just to get that out of the way.
Wow.
Wish me luck. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And until next time, don't forget that with great power comes even greater responsibility. Goodbye.